Hello guys, my name is Asim. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a guest, Professor Dul. Is a director and a professor of the Media and Communication program at Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. And today we're going to discuss admission process. Thank you very much for agreeing to the interview.
My pleasure.
Please tell me, what is the most important quality admission officers look for?
Well, for our particular program, our master's program, I'm the admissions officer. What I look for mostly is it a good fit? Is this going to be a master's program that's going to be valuable to the student? Because they're going to spend a lot of money and time in this program. I want to make sure they get value out of it, they can use it in their career. So I usually look at the essay, the personal statement, for example, where they talk about why they want this particular master's program, and I'm trying to make sure it's going to be a good fit for them.
Could you please tell me what is the top 3 things which applicants need to consider when writing in motivation letter?
So the personal statement's more about why you're interested in this master's program, what you hope to do with it, and how you expect to use it going forward professionally. Because this is a professionally oriented program. So most of our students, 90% of our students are here because they want to do something professionally. They want to enter a particular profession, they want to pivot in a particular area, or they want to get a promotion, they want to do something that's going to help them professionally. About 60% of our students work full-time. So we also have to make sure they can balance their work-life conditions as well.
And how many admission officers read the applicant's application?
Usually just me. Unless the students, we're not quite sure, I have a committee that can help me with. Usually it's just me as a director.
What are major reason do you decline a student?
Usually the only reason is if their grade point average is below a U.S. standard of 3.0, that's usually something that we don't consider. Usually it's 3.0 or better. That's usually the one thing. Well, the other thing is, again, if I read the personal statement and I don't feel like it's a good fit for the student, they're not going to get the value out of it, that might be another reason.
Do grades, school grades matter?
Only in the sense that if it's below a 3.0 on a U.S. scale, yes, it will matter, because usually that's our minimum. Now, we have admitted some people below a 3.0, they have a lot of work experience, or they had something unusual happen in their undergraduate degree. Sometimes we'll admit below that, but usually 3.0 or better is what we lose.
And GPA and test scores or experiment at the motivation letter, what is the more important?
Good question. So we have waived the GRE. We've made it optional for 2022, so we're not looking at that at the moment. I usually don't use the GRE to eliminate someone, to reject someone. Usually it helps someone get into the program. What we look for more is their work experience and their undergraduate grades. Typically those are the 2 things.
And I know that some disciplines like journalism require the GRE, but they don't have a requirement score. And if applicants have like a low score in GRE, does it influence for like acceptance?
It can. We don't. Again, the GRE is optional for 2022, so it won't matter. Students do not have to take it. If they want to take it, it's only to help them. Now, I don't look at the math scores for our program. I look strictly at the verbal and written scores. And a low score there could be a challenge, could be an issue, depending.
What are major red flags you see in university applications?
A poorly written personal statement. If it's got grammar issues or it's not well written, that's usually a problem, because you have time to write that. You can have plenty of time to think about that. Again, if their undergraduate grades are below a 3.0, that usually is an issue. Or if the recommendations, we have required 2 recommendations. If they're kind of, how can I best describe it? If they're not very, very good recommendations, they're kind of just average, that usually is an indicator, something we think about.
And what advice do you have for people trying to get a merit-based scholarship?
They're hard to get here because we don't have many of those at our master's level. We have almost no scholarship money. Most of our monies go to our doctoral students. So it's unfortunate we don't have many. So now merit-based ones, you can get them in other sources. We don't offer them in our program. And usually it's based on undergraduate performance or need, in some cases need.
Mhm. And could you please tell me, I know that in the journalism and or public relations disciplines, they have like to send the published articles. For international students, it's a little bit challenging because they have articles but in their native language.
Right.
And what should they do in this situation?
Because those are optional; those aren't required in our program. You don't have to do those. If you want to, we call that a portfolio. If you want to deliver your portfolio and works you publish, that's fine. That's an extra that helps you, but doesn't hurt you if they're not there because we don't require publications. And it can be in your native language. It's fine as long as we know where they were published. That's fine. But again, that's an extra. We don't require those.
Applicants submit applications as early as possible. Do they have a more chance than the applicants who submit the applicants late
Yes,
but meet deadline?
Right. So we have a rolling admission. So we admit in the fall, in the spring, and in the summer. It's always better to meet the date or go a little earlier because you'll get a quicker decision. Now, for example, for the spring here, it's December 1st, so it's only another couple of weeks. You know, for next fall, let's see, I think it's August 1st next fall. So it's always better to be sooner than later.
Especially at Rutgers Media and Communication program, which quality is the most important for this program?
It's mostly writing skills, you know, and feeling, you know, communication skills in general, but all we can see really is a writing skill. Now, we also require a video interview for our international applicants. There's two reasons for that. One, to make sure that their English is enough to feel comfortable in the program, but also can they communicate in an effective manner. So communication skills, both written and verbal, are the most important.
And what advice do you have for people who are preparing for interview?
Oh, actually, the interviews are very easy because there's 3 questions, and there's 1 minute for each question, and you can think ahead of time. It's not something you do right at that moment. You can prepare ahead of time. So you can look at the questions that are in there, and you take your time preparing. It's literally 1 minute per. It's really not that very stressful. It's pretty easy actually.
And what information do you want to know via the applicant's applications? First,
what I'm most important, as I said earlier, is a personal statement. I want to know why they're interested in our master's programs and what they hope to do with the master's. Because I want to make sure it's a good fit. Because again, you're going to spend, especially if you're coming from another country, you're spending a lot of time moving here. It's costing you money and time. I want to make sure it's worth your while. Actually, we would consider both. We don't have a ceiling. We don't have a fixed number here. We can take a lot of students. We would consider both. We wouldn't compare them against each other. We'd consider them on each case by case. But if I literally had 1 seat left, I would take the more experienced student. The student had more and more work experience. But that rarely happens because we have enough seats in our program that we can take both. As long as they meet our minimum criteria, they're both going to get admitted.
And how many does Rutgers usually accept the students for master's program to media and communication?
So it changes depending on when you're admitting. So in the fall, we typically admit around 50. In the spring, it's around 25. In the summer, about 15. But that can go up or down depending on how many people admit. We don't have a ceiling. We don't have a maximum number. We can admit more students. Depends if they meet the criteria or not.
Via the recommendation letter, what information do you want to know about the applicants? Because the recommendation letter, I think, plays a crucial role.
It's actually very important. We do pay a lot of attention to recommendation letters. So, what's the relationship between the recommender and the student? How do they know them? How long did they work with them? What do they think their best skills are? And how do they think they'll do in our program? That's typically what we look for.
Applicants have asked the time and they didn't meet the deadline. Do you usually give the additional time for these applicants?
It depends on the semester usually and how many students we've already admitted, but usually we can give up to 2 weeks more. So for example, for this fall, December 1st is our deadline. We actually could probably go to December 15th as long as all the requirements are there. But we can't go past December 15th because registration is already open for the spring.
I know that how many specialization in the master's program, but my followers don't know about it. Please tell me if they choose a media and communication program, how many disciplines they can choose.
We have 7 in our master's communication media program. So we have strategic communication and leadership communication. That's 1. We have health communication. We have public relations. We have digital media. We have what's called communication media studies. We also have communication media research. And then we also have corporate social responsibility. So we have 7 total. Our most popular one is digital media. Our second most popular is public relations. And the third one is communication media studies, because in that one, the student gets to decide what they want to specialize in. They can blend a couple of them together.
Yeah, and I know that sometimes students even can choose 2 specializations
Right.
if they met all the course
Yes.
or core lessons.
Right. They do that by specializing in the communication media studies track, and that way you can blend more than one together. 2, not more than 3, not more than 2. 2 you can blend. For example, a lot of students blend public relations and digital media. That's 2 examples.
And have you had the connection with students who already graduate the university and have make it some position in some big companies?
Sure. We've had over 500 graduates out of our Master's Communication Media Studies program, so we have a lot of graduates. We just had our largest graduation in history with 77 graduates in the last year, and they always keep in touch with us. We have a LinkedIn page for MCM for the program, and we have a very active alumni association, so they're very active. We talk to them all the time. Some of them have shot videos for us. You can find them on our website. There's videos of past students as well.
And how many applicants submit their application at Rutgers University to a master's program?
I actually don't know the answer because it changes by semester. For this past summer, we had 27, I believe. In the past spring, I think we had 37, 38, something like that. It changes. COVID has obviously changed the dynamics a little bit. For this fall, we're still open for another week or 2, so I'm not sure how many yet, but typically we're in the 50 range.
Can students graduate university online remotely in their country?
Yes, you can do that. It depends on the rules of the country. But if you are allowed to study remotely in your country, yes, you can do it. But only the digital media specialization, not the other ones. We expect sometime in the future all of them will be online and remote, but not for 22. Probably in 2023. By that time, all 7 will be you can accomplish remotely. But right now, it's only digital media you can do remotely. But it's possible.
Will be there differences in the price?
No, there's no difference. The tuition's the same, but they do charge. The university charges an online fee. I think it's $100-something per semester, something like that. But it's the same tuition.
Please tell me why people should choose Rutgers Media and Communication Master's Program.
Well, there's a few things. First of all, I would just say in general, you should try and get your master's if you can. I can only use U.S. information, but only about 13% of U.S. population has a master's degree. And I don't know what it's like in some of the other countries, but you're going to stand out. It's a differentiator because you're one of the few that have one. That's one reason. The second reason, let's say you have good communication skills now, you're going to be even better when you come out of the program. You have a lot of experience teaching and learning it. And every company is looking for people that are good communicators, that are good teammates, and are good problem solvers. So that's another one. And then in our degree, it's very generalizable. You can use it in a lot of different professions. We probably have people in 15 or 16 different professions. We have journalists out there. We have digital media. We have corporate spokespeople. We have people working for nonprofits, people working in government agencies, people working for corporations. So there's a lot that you can do with this degree. It's a very generalizable degree, and you can use it worldwide, in that sense.
And can students study and work at the same time?
Yes. 60% of our students already work full-time or part-time when they're here. Now, as an international student, there's some restrictions on the visas. I think it's 20 hours a week. And sometimes you can only work on campus, but yes, you can. And a lot of our students are working. Our classes are at night or online, so they accommodate the working professional.
Thank you. And your final advice for applicants?
My advice is if you can afford it and you have the time, definitely go for your master's because it's a clear differentiator. It's going to make you stand out. It's an investment to pay off the rest of your career. It's going to be something that's going to make you better than what you currently are, and it's going to definitely help you professionally.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, for your answers. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you. And don't forget subscribe the channel and leave the comment if you have some questions or suggestions for the next video. Feel free. Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you
Is that
so
good
much.
for you? I appreciate it. Thank you.